Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 259 based on novel. So let's start. Taran's expression was cold as he casually waved his hand. He created a strong wind that blew the sword energies away and their flying swords collapsed. The two of them only felt an unimaginable impact. They both coughed out blood and were blown away. As for the martial artists charging over, it was as if their bodies had hit a wall. They all coughed out blood and were pushed back. No one was spared. Taran didn't kill anyone. With a wave of his hand, he only injured the two cultivators and these people. When the youth saw this scene, he was immediately startled. However, his expression became even more ferocious and he shouted, "I'm a member of the Wang family. You dare to hurt my men? You are all dead." Wang Lin raised his right hand and slapped the youth. He didn't use any cultivation and merely slapped as a mortal. After all, the youth was not a cultivator. If he used any power, he would shatter all the bones in the youth's body. Even so, the youth was thrown into the air. His face became swollen and all his teeth shattered. What he slapped wasn't just the youth but also the black snake. The black snake was extremely strange. The moment Wang Lin's slap landed, it disappeared, but then it immediately reformed. I left the youth's body and attempted to devour Wang Lin. Only Taran and the big-headed boy could see it. Everyone behind Wang Lin only felt a gust of cold wind. I want to see who dares to use my Wang clan to raise resentful spirits. Wang Lin's eyes were cold and he was furious. With his cultivation, he could tell at a glance that the youth's soul had already been devoured and replaced by the resentful spirit. As the snake charged over, Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed. Before this finger, the snake's eyes were filled with fear and wanted to escape. However, it was too late, and with a bang, the snake exploded. It turned into black mist that was grabbed by Wang Lin. He crushed it and it turned into a black rune. After the black snake was gone, the youth's body trembled and coughed out a large mouthful of blood. His face was no longer ferocious and was filled with confusion. His soul had already been devoured, so his eyes became dim and lost their luster. The surroundings were completely silent, but this silence only lasted for an instant and was immediately replaced by screams. The crowd panicked and escaped as fast as possible. It didn't take long before there wasn't anyone left. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. When his divine sense spread out, he didn't notice anything wrong. However, when he took a closer look, he was immediately able to understand that someone was using the Wang family members' lives to nourish resentful spirits. Wang Lin had heard about this kind of spell before. It was like refining a sword. A person was used as a spirit that absorbed resentment. If enough resentment was absorbed, its power was nothing to laugh at. Combining with the monstrous resentment over the capital, Wang Lin could imagine someone was controlling all of this. The more resentment there was, the more powerful the resentful spirit could become. Angered, Wang Lin's eyes became even colder. When he threw the black rune forward, it began flying forward by itself. Wang Lin had his hand behind him as he walked behind the rune. Taran and the big-headed boy followed closely after him. A prince being killed in the capital was naturally a big thing. Not long after, rays of sword energy rushed over from all over the capital. There were cultivators from various sects on planet Suzaku riding those sword energies. Their eyes were like lightning and they didn't even bother speaking to Wang Lin before they attacked with their magical treasures. Wang Lin's expression was cold as he waved his sleeves. All the magical treasures were blown away. The cultivators on the flying swords were terrified as they were blown away involuntarily by the wind. In the blink of an eye, they were sent 5,000 kilometers away. What spell is this? That person looked very familiar. The expressions of those cultivators that were sent 5,000 kilometers away all changed greatly. They all panicked and none of them dared to move forward. They all quickly rode their flying swords toward their own sects. Wang Lin's eyes were cold. He was extremely angry. As he walked toward the Imperial palace, countless soldiers charged at him. Wang Lin didn't want to hurt them, so when he waved his sleeves and they were sent tens of thousands of kilometers away. He came closer and closer to the Imperial Palace. At this moment, in the main hall, there was a middle-aged man wearing a dragon robe, and his expression was gloomy. Beside him was a very noble and beautiful woman who was wearing a colorful dress. However, there was black fog in her eyes and a trace of panic flashed across her eyes. At the same time, countless Wang family members wearing silk clothes gloomily stared ahead. Outside the hall, there were countless teams of soldiers in the square preparing to face a great enemy. A killing aura filled the area. The middle-aged man mercilessly threw the ink slab and shouted, "What kind of person dares to kill in my great Wang dynasty? Did you find out what sect he is from?" The surroundings were completely quiet. After a while, a white-haired cultivator hesitated before stepping out and saying, "Their three people are very powerful, they are probably seniors with high cultivation levels. As for their sects, we are still looking into it." The middle-aged man's expression became gloomy and he sneered. "It seems my Wang family has been too quiet on planet Suzaku. Even some nameless person dares to bully us. Where is the national teacher?" With that, a laugh echoed the Imperial Palace. "My lord doesn't need to worry. My disciples can deal with this." Strands of black gas gathered in the air above the square, and in an instant, 3 people formed. Although they were covered by black mist, it was obvious that they were 2 males and 1 female. None of them were very old. After the 3 of them appeared, they didn't even look at the Imperial Palace. They turned into 3 strands of black gas and charged out. As Wang Lin walked, his eyes became colder. The rune before him had become even more dense, and he was now outside the gate to the Imperial Palace. The countless soldiers inside had serious expressions as they stared at Wang Lin's group. Just at this moment, the 3 strands of black gas arrived and charged at Wang Lin. Before they even arrived, a burst of pressure appeared and a ghostly wail spread across the heavens and earth. Wang Lin was immediately able to tell that these 3 cultivators' cultivation levels weren't high, they were only at the soul transformation stage. However, their attacks were very powerful, almost at the level of Ascendant. There was no Wang family bloodline in those 3 bodies, only endless resentment. They were clearly resentful spirits that had already been refined to a certain degree. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent. As he walked out, he immediately arrived before the 3 of them. Both his fingers formed a sword and immediately pointed at one of them. He was too fast and his finger landed on the person's shoulder. At this moment, his early-stage Nirvana Scryer origin energy surged and rushed into that person's body. That person's body trembled and collapsed without any resistance. He turned into black gas and was going to escape, but it was too late. With Wang Lin's cultivation, when he attacked from anger, he not only destroyed the resentful spirit's body, but also the root. As the resentful spirit escaped, it immediately exploded, leaving nothing but the resentment that slowly dissipated. All of this happened in an instant. From the point of view of the other resentful spirits, Wang Lin had only taken a step, raised his hand, and then one of their companions was killed. When they saw this, their eyes revealed their panic. After killing one, Wang Lin's left hand slammed into the void and an unimaginable vibration suddenly broke out and formed a storm. As the storm swept by, another resentful spirit was pulled in. Its body collapsed and immediately died. After killing 2 in a row, Wang Lin suddenly turned around, and his eyes were filled with thunder. The last woman immediately trembled as thunder appeared inside her body and she exploded. Wang Lin's eyes became even colder. He stepped into the air and moved toward the Imperial Palace. As Wang Lin walked in the air, he stepped into the Imperial Palace and directly into the royal court. He immediately saw the Imperial soldiers in the square and the Wang descendants in the main hall. There were many cultivators on the side. Their eyes were filled with killing intent, but none of them dared to attack. They couldn't see through Wang Lin's cultivation, but they all knew they couldn't kill the national teacher's 3 disciples so easily. As a result, they were extremely afraid of this intruder. Wang Lin stood above the square. He stared at the people below and coldly said, "Very good. You did really good." He could see hundreds of Wang clan members, but this wasn't all of them. Among those people, almost all of them had black gas between their eyebrows. However, what was interesting was that the middle-aged man with the dragon robe didn't have the black gas between his eyebrows. As for the woman beside him, the black fog had disappeared and there weren't any signs of cultivation in her. No matter how one looked, she was a mortal. Wang Lin's voice echoed like the cold winter wind. As it flew by, it caused everyone's minds to tremble. When the middle-aged man saw Wang Lin, he was startled and his eyes were filled with shock. However, the shock was immediately replaced by killing intent and he shouted, "By the order of the Wang family, kill this person." Almost at the instant the man shouted, a loud rumble came from the ground underneath the square. Cracks appeared on the ground and 8 old men charged out. These 8 elders all gave off an ancient auras. After they appeared, they stared at Wang Lin and charged forward without any hesitation. The anger in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger. These 8 elders all had black gas between their eyebrows. However, there was a golden glow that guarded their souls. Wang Lin took a step forward, pointed forward, and 8 strands of black and white gas shot out toward each of them. The black and white gas surrounded them, and at that instant, it destroyed the black gas between their eyebrows. The 8 elders' bodies trembled and they immediately became sober. The first thing they saw was the angry Wang Lin. They trembled and one of them exclaimed, "Ancestor Wang Lin." The remaining 7 all revealed excited expressions. After that was said, a huge uproar was set off below them. The expressions of the cultivators changed. They couldn't believe it. In contrast, the Wang family members all revealed strange expressions. Only a few of them revealed excitement. Just at this moment, the large amount of black mist that came out from the old man fused together into a large python hundreds of feet long. It let out a roar and charged toward Wang Lin. This time, Taran directly stepped forward and threw his right fist. There was an earth-shattering sound and the python immediately collapsed. Taran withdrew his fist and returned behind Wang Lin. From start to finish, his expression remained cold. Killing intent flashed through Wang Lin's eyes. He raised his right hand and pressed down. The earth rumbled, and as the powerful force bombarded the ground, a person flew out from the pit. This person's upper body was naked and his long hair flowed in the air. His pupils shrank when he saw Wang Lin in the air. "You dare to raise resentful spirits in my Wang family descendants? You die?" Wang Lin's voice was very cold as he took a step. Thunder appeared on his right arm and shot toward the man. The man's expression changed greatly. He thought that he had hidden himself very well, but he was still found out, and now he quickly retreated. His cultivation level was far above anyone on planet Suzaku. He was at the illusory yin stage. However, at this moment, his mind trembled. He looked back into the hall at the woman in the colored dress next to the middle-aged man. The woman's eyes were cold. When she saw Wang Lin attacking the man, she let out a cold snort in her heart. She raised her right hand and was about to use a spell. However, just at this moment, as Wang Lin charged toward the man, ripples appeared under his feet and he suddenly disappeared. This disappearance startled the man, but his eyes lit up and he escaped without hesitation. Taran's eyes turned cold and he was going to chase, but the big-headed boy was one step ahead. With a foolish smile on his face, he chased after the man. As for the woman in the colorful dress, she was also startled, but her expression changed greatly. She suddenly charged out, but it was too late. Wang Lin's figure appeared in the hall right next to the woman. Thunder flashed across his eyes as he pointed out in anger. Countless bolts of thunder from the heavens seemed to penetrate the void through some incredible means and directly gathered at his fingertip. This finger carrying the power of thunder landed on the middle of the woman's back. The woman's body trembled violently and she coughed out a large mouthful of blood. There was a giant python coiled up above her head. However, the moment the python appeared, it collapsed and the woman turned pale. Just as the thunder was about to destroy her body and origin soul, there was a crisp cry of a phoenix. A 5-colored phoenix appeared and blocked Wang Lin's thunder for her. She retreated and was about to use a spell, but Wang Lin was again one step ahead of her. He appeared beside her once more and his finger filled with thunder descended once more. As the thunder rumbled, the woman coughed out more blood and the phoenix trembled. She continued to retreat, but her speed simply couldn't compare to Wang Lin's. In a flash, Wang Lin moved like a ghost and pointed at her 4 times. The woman's body trembled violently. The continuous attacks had seriously injured her and she had no chance to fight back. The last point caused the phoenix to let out a miserable cry before it collapsed. The woman's eyes became alert and she snapped, "I'm one of the 7 phoenixes of planet Phone 1. Do you dare to kill me?" However, Wang Lin didn't stop at all and arrived next to her in a flash. Killing intent appeared in his eyes as he raised his right hand. Black and white gas circled his 2 fingers as he pressed them down on the woman's right shoulder. Black and white gas rushed into her body. Her body trembled and immediately collapsed. Her origin soul tried to escape, but it was sealed by the black and white gas and dragged to Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't hesitate as he pressed his right hand on the woman's origin soul and used the soul search spell. As the woman screamed in pain, Wang Lin ransacked all her memories. The more he saw, the more gloomy his face became. At the end, his gaze was chilly cold and he mercilessly crushed her origin soul. Her origin soul turned into origin energy that was directly devoured by Wang Lin. He had already seen that there was something wrong with this woman. Although she tried to hide her cultivation, Wang Lin could clearly see her corporeal yang cultivation. If not for the phoenix spirit protecting her, just one thunder strike would have been enough to kill her. There were many Wang family members here, and Wang Lin could see that the black gas from the Wang family members were connected to her hand. It was obvious that this woman controlled their lives. Otherwise, the moment Wang Lin appeared, he would have killed her rather than forcing out the person hiding underground and attacking when she was distracted. The moment she died, a portion of the Wang family members coughed out blood. Then their eyes dimmed and they died. The black mist disappeared from the rest of the Wang family members and they regained their clarity. They looked at Wang Lin with excitement in their eyes before they knelt down and felt ashamed. The education every single Wang family member went through during their childhood involved observing the portrait of their Wang family ancestor. Wang Lin's appearance was engraved into their hearts. Now that their minds were clear, they immediately recognized Wang Lin. They weren't unfamiliar with Wang Lin with all the rumors. The reason why there were so many cultivators in the Great Wang dynasty was because the Wang family produced Wang Lin. "Ancestor, we were wrong." The 8 old men were all kneeling on the ground. Wang Lin's gaze fell on the main hall and looked at the middle-aged man who was also kneeling. He coldly said, "You all were indeed wrong. You couldn't even distinguish if someone was a Wang family member or not." The middle-aged man's expression changed greatly. Wang Lin let out a cold snort. This snort was like thunder that echoed endlessly. The middle-aged man was knocked out by this snort. Wang Lin's words startled all the Wang family members. Their gazes became gloomy as they stared at the middle-aged man that had passed out. After letting out a sigh, Wang Lin looked at the surrounding cultivators. He clasped his hands and said, "Fellow cultivators, thank you all for taking care of my Wang family over the years." The cultivators quickly and respectfully accepted his thanks. After setting a few things, Wang Lin's divine sense spread out and he determined that there were no more people from planet Phone 1 here anymore. He turned to the old man kneeling on the ground and said, "I leave you to deal with the matter here. I'll return in several days." Wang Lin's eyes were cold. He had learned a lot from the woman from planet Phone 1, and now there were some matters to deal with. "Planet Phone 1, Corp Sect, you dare to have ideas about my Wang family descendants? Don't blame me for being merciless." Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent. This time he was truly angry. From the memories of the woman from planet Phone 1, Wang Lin knew that she was indeed one of the 7 phoenixes. However, at the same time, she was also a member of the Corp Sect sent here to be the head elder. She had the same position as Sun Tai, but her cultivation level was much higher. Corp Sect. Wang Lin heard some secrets of the Corp Sect from Sun Tai before his death. Things such as gathering resentment to nourish resentful spirits was one of the tasks of the Corp Sect. From that woman's memories, Wang Lin knew that in the Great Wang dynasty, almost every city had Corp Sect members. It was like a large net that shrouded over the great Wang dynasty that constantly caused resentment and gathered resentment to nourish the resentful spirits. What Wang Lin was going to do was wipe those people out. However, it wasn't just the ones in the great Wang dynasty, he was going to uproot the corpse sect from planet Suzaku. And due to the matter with his descendants, he was going to pay the corpse sect a visit. That giant corpse and the weak divine sense were all things he was interested in. He just didn't know if that giant demon clan body was still there after hundreds of years. In the distance, the big-headed boy returned with a person in his hand. He had a foolish smile as he looked at Wang Lin. "Kill it. Give me the origin soul." Wang Lin's expression was cold as he stepped toward the horizon. Taran quickly followed. The big-headed cultivator licked his lips and his right hand squeezed. The person's head was crushed and the big-headed cultivator held the origin soul as he followed after Wang Lin. A huge change was occurring on planet Suzaku with Wang Lin's return. The metal, wood, water, fire, and earth major cities were the closest ones to the capital. They surrounded the area within 50,000 kilometers of the capital and each contained a large amount of soldiers. With Wang Lin's speed, it only took a step for him to arrive at the metal city. Although it was a bit smaller than the capital, it was still luxurious. However, this luxury made the resentment even stronger. This resentment gathered in the air above the city like a demonic flame. It continued to rise and was very erratic. As he closed in on the city, Wang Lin's divine sense swept past the city inch by inch. His eyes lit up and he let out a cold snort. As this cold snort spread, explosions occurred in 3 locations. In the city lord's mansion, the advisor named Sun suddenly trembled and exploded into a pile of flesh. The same thing happened in the other 2 places. Wang Lin's expression was cold as turned around to leave. He was too fast. He didn't give the people of the corpse sect any chance at all. As his divine sense spread, bodies immediately exploded within the remaining 4 cities. After finishing with all of this, Wang Lin continued to move with his divine sense spread out across all the cities inside the great Wang dynasty. The corpse sect disciples all panicked as they flew out from the cities and tried to escape. However, the moment they flew into the air, a cold snort appeared. Their bodies trembled and were directly crushed by the divine sense sent out by a Nirvana Scryer cultivator. Popping sounds echoed within the great Wang dynasty as the corpse sect disciples cough out blood before their bodies disintegrated. Even their souls collapsed, and large amounts of spiritual energy entered the earth of planet Suzaku to nourish it. This sudden event caused the citizens of the great Wang dynasty to panic. They didn't know what was happening and began to speculate endlessly. His divine sense swept across the great Wang dynasty. After killing the corpse sect disciples, Wang Lin's expression became even more gloomy. He had searched the memories of the woman from planet Phone 1. Almost every city had corpse sect disciples collecting resentment and nourishing resentful spirits. This wasn't only happening on planet Suzaku, all the branch corpse sects were gathering resentment. Although that woman from planet Phone 1 was the head elder, someone like her normally wouldn't be sent to planet Suzaku. However, orders came from the corpse sect headquarters to station a corporeal young cultivator here, and the job fell in her hands. Wang Lin didn't care about any of this. What he found strange was a secret command that she had received from the corpse sect headquarters after arriving on planet Suzaku. No matter how hard Wang Lin searched the woman's memories, he couldn't find anything about the secret order. This meant that the order was given by someone with stronger cultivation, so he wasn't able to find out what it was. However, Wang Lin was able to make some guesses based on some clues. First of all, with that woman's background, she wouldn't become the concubine of a mortal. If that was the case, why was she at the Imperial Palace? With her cultivation, there was no need for direct control, she didn't even have to be there. Also, this woman hadn't been on planet Suzaku for long, less than 100 years. And she had only entered the Imperial Palace 10 years ago. Her memories were a complete blank from the moment when she arrived before the Imperial Palace, as if someone had taken them away. She didn't know why she was here. However, using her other memories, Wang Lin was able to find out what she was hiding from in the Imperial Palace. During these 10 years, this woman had been carefully hiding inside the Imperial palace and was keeping her cultivation hidden. What exactly happened to her 10 years ago that made her flee to the most populated Imperial palace? Besides, what made her think she wouldn't be found in the Imperial palace? Wang Lin frowned. After pondering for a while, he decided to not think about this anymore. His divine sense no longer locked onto the city but swept across planet Suzaku, searching for the Corp Sect. The Corp Sect was a very large organization. Not just outside the planet, but even just on planet Suzaku, Wang Lin remembered that the Corp Sect existed in almost every country. However, through the memories of that woman, Wang Lin was aware that the Corp Sect had been reorganized. They were all concentrated in one place, and that place became the headquarters for the Corp Sect on planet Suzaku. What was interesting was that the new headquarters was in the country of Zhao, where the Corp Sect in Zhao used to be. After cleaning up the Corp Sect members in various cities, Wang Lin headed straight toward the Corp Sect in Zhao. He moved very fast and soon arrived at the Corp Sect in Zhao. It had been hundreds of years since he had been here. While staring at the swamp ahead, his eyes turned cold and he muttered, "Interesting. There are many more restrictions here than before." Wang Lin calmly said, "Taran, open this place up for me." Taran's expression was cold as he took a few steps forward. He didn't look at the swamp as he tightened his right fist and bombarded the ground. At this moment, the ground began to tremble violently. The swamp on the ground was shaken into the air and the muddy water shot into the sky. It was as if someone had lifted the ground up. Countless flashes of restrictions appeared, and while these restrictions might have been effective against ascendant cultivators, they were useless against Taran. With one punch, those restriction lights immediately collapsed and disappeared. A large crack appeared on the earth, and deep within this crack was a secret passage. Wang Lin walked forward into the secret passage and calmly walked in with Taran following behind. As for the big-headed boy, he was quite interested as he looked around and followed behind as well. As he walked down this secret passage, Wang Lin felt melancholy. He had come here twice hundreds of years ago, and both times he had to be very careful. However, now he would do as he pleased here. As Wang Lin walked through the passage, he spread out his divine sense across the Corp Sect and blocked all exits. He was here looking for the head of the Corp Sect. Whether it was now or before, Wang Lin never had any goodwill toward the Corp Sect. Not to mention they had actually dared to use the Wang family to nourish resentful spirits. Wang Lin had no special feelings toward these descendants from more than 10 generations away. However, they were descendants of the Wang family, and seeing them bullied like this had really angered him. Along the way, any Corp Sect cultivator detected by his divine sense immediately collapsed and died. There were many cultivators here. They had a gloomy expressions as they panicked and wanted to escape. However, with Wang Lin's divine sense sealing the passages, none of them could escape. As he walked, a flash of sword energy from the passage suddenly shot toward Wang Lin. This sword energy contained a powerful aura. The person who launched the attack had to be at the ascendant stage. As it charged through the narrow passage, there was a loud whistle. Wang Lin's expression was cold as he casually pointed with his hand and used a bit of his origin energy. Ripples appeared in the void and the sword energy immediately collapsed. A muffled groan appeared as the ripple from Wang Lin's fingertip spread. However, not only did the person not retreat, he moved even faster toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin had already seen what the ambusher looked like. This person's body was thin, as if he was a mummy. There were countless runes on this person's body, and the body gave off a foul smell. The person's eyes were dim, as if he no longer had a mind. While looking at the person, Wang Lin found him a bit familiar. In an instant, this mummy arrived next to Wang Lin. Wang Lin let out a sigh and kicked with his right foot. There was a sonic boom and his right foot landed on the mummy with a bang. The mummy began to disintegrate from its feet. This disintegration was rapid, and in an instant, the mummy turned to dust. The moment the mummy disappeared, his eyes regained clarity. He looked at Wang Lin with confusion, but he disappeared the next instant. I didn't think that Yee's eye, one, would become someone else's corpse puppet. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he walked forward. He didn't move fast and there were ambushes in many places before him. However, all of them collapsed in an instant. These ambushes were all corpse puppets. Wang Lin walked toward the corpse sect headquarters along the passage. The moment Wang Lin arrived, his eyes turned cold and he looked ahead. His gaze seemed to be able to pierce through the wall and extend inside the cave. He saw 8 huge transfer arrays, and at this moment, numerous corpse sect members were standing within them. The transfer arrays activated and began to slowly disappear. "You all can't escape," Wang Lin calmly said to himself. His divine sense swept past the 8 transfer arrays, causing them to immediately begin to collapse. In an instant, 3 of the transfer arrays collapsed and all the corpse sect disciples disappeared into a spatial crack. At the same time, the other 5 transfer arrays also collapsed. Not a single corpse sect disciple was able to escape. If a cultivator at the second step wanted to wipe out a sect like this, it would require no blood. The second step cultivator merely need to use his divine sense to destroy the sect. Even yin and yang cultivators couldn't do this. After all, the yin and yang stages were only transition stages, only Nirvana Scryer cultivators were really at the second step. This video will end here.